Now, welcome to another edition of News from Naboo with the Horse Lighting Takes. And let's get right to the news.
All right, we are about a month and a half-ish away from the Acolyte, right?
Yep,
So, Total Film now has a new issue coming out April 25th, which is going to feature interviews, of course, and information on the Acolyte.
a shocker.
Mm-hmm.
Really pushing this show. I think they have high hopes for this show.
I think so too, and a lot of the interviews are saying kind of the right-ish things. They're trying to pull a lot of people in from different things, like, hey, remember Logan? You know how everyone loved Logan?
Yep.
We got X-23
Matrix.
with a lightsaber. Hey, you know Matrix, great movies. We got Trinity.
A lot of lightsabers in the trailer.
We referenced
Jedi and
Kurosawa,
Sith. Squid Game, I guess.
Squid Game.
I mean,
We are pulling out all the stops. I feel like Disney's banking on this show.
within the fan base, certainly there is some doubts and trepidation. But I think outside of it is where they're hoping to kind of have a hit that reaches beyond it. With
Right.
this kind of big mystery thing, too, that they hope will be going over well.
Well, and what else could go well for it is the fact that this is a jumping on point, you could say. It's the first season of a new
Yeah.
show.
Yeah,
Hey,
ish.
you watched the prequels? This leads to the prequels. This is something that can bring in, I mean, when you hear, oh, season 3 of The Mandalorian, some people go, well, I'm not going to watch the other 2 seasons to watch this.
Sure. I think the problem with it being like a prequel to the prequels is it's like 100 years before it. And to a lot of people, that's not going to feel like a prequel to the prequels. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Well, speaking of the prequels, Total Film did release one quote from the new article that's coming out from Amanda Stenberg, because she's the one they interviewed. She says, "We are the prequel to the prequels. And the prequels have this kind of prestige to them, this monarchical vibe. So one of my main questions going in was, are we going to maintain that sensibility? And yes, in many ways we do, while also incorporating elements that feel really contemporary and relatable. When I watched the finished episodes, I was really struck by how universal the story was."
Contemporary.
That word frightens me. I understand they want it to be relatable to today's audience. I like universal story because that should imply that if I watch this 30 years from now, the story should still be relatable. If I watch this 60 years from now, the story should still be relatable.
Well, that should always be the goal for something like Star
for
Wars,
a story
I
to
think.
stand the test of time, it absolutely should.
Yeah.
It has
I
to
don't-
carry those themes and stuff that people want to see
boy.
over and over.
Contemporary.
Ah,
I mean,
yeah.
that's the last thing I think a lot of people want to hear. We don't want a commentary on the modern world, do we?
Absolutely not.
We
I
get
want-
that every single
I
day.
want commentary on
Everywhere
Star
I
Wars.
turn, I get a commentary on the modern world in
Yes.
entertainment, it's social media. People around you talk more
The
politics
news,
than
yeah.
ever before. Yeah, the news.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere,
They're
and so
everywhere.
people want to go to Star Wars to escape contemporary.
Right. I want to be engrossed in fantasy in their world.
Yes.
So I do like that she says that they're maintaining that sensibility that in the prequels, things did feel a little
Cleaner.
more elevated, maybe.
Cleaner is how I always think about the prequels.
It does.
Yeah.
It's like,
The galaxy just felt a little different than it does in the original. Obviously, no empire.
right.
But I mean, there was
then
just a
she uses like monarch terms. Like, yeah, it felt more like a kingdom of, if you want to contain,
Sure.
compare it to maybe a different type of fantasy. It feels more
Yeah.
like that.
It does feel more. I don't know what the word is
With
that
the
I'm
high
looking for.
class senators walking around in their fancy garb
Yeah,
and
like almost like Rome before.
we can't forget, I mean, Naboo had a queen. Still had,
Well, an elected queen,
a queen
But yeah,
nonetheless.
an elected
With
queen.
handmaidens.
Sure.
So
yeah,
there
yeah.
was this type of elevated look. We had Count Dooku,
Count Dooku,
I know you're
yeah,
looking at
I
me
know,
do
yeah.
it. There was almost this kingdom-esque structure to it that felt more regal. I could say
Yeah.
the times felt regal. I mean, the Jedi are wearing gold back then.
Well, what's interesting is I had always, back in the day before the prequels, I had always envisioned the Jedi Knights being like Knights of the Round Table esque.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just the illusion or
They
image I
do
had back in
sit
the
in
day.
a circle. If you just put a table in there,
It is a circular council. There's,
Yes.
it's
no head
kinda
of the
like-
table.
No.
They embodied the Knights of the Round Table.
All
you
for
could say.
one for all, right?
Yeah,
That's,
but none for Anakin.
that's
Sit
what,
down.
That's what they said. Totally not the
Totally.
Three Musketeers.
I do like that they're going to uphold that portion of that because that should be. I mean, that's how it was
Well,
before
yeah,
the
it should be,
Empire
yeah.
rose.
Absolutely.
But then the words of contemporary.
We don't need it.
Incorporating elements that feel really contemporary and relatable. I don't exactly need it to be 100% relatable. It's an alien world. It should feel a little uncertain at times. Does she just mean relatable, as in relatable to the prequels, relatable to Star Wars? Because we can't forget, Stenberg actually loves Star Wars.
Yeah, yeah.
She's a fan. Could that mean the relatable that she's saying is, when I watch The Acolyte, it feels very relatable to the prequels? Okay. The word contemporary, I just don't like that.
I know.
Because I think of the show Willow, when they... When for some reason they put contemporary music in my 80s fantasy spinoff.
Oh, God.
And we're using modern day terms. I was like, no.
Yeah.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Go away.
So much wrong.
The Knight's Tale did contemporary rock.
Yes, but it wasn't trying to take itself seriously at the same time.
Right. Willow did contemporary extremely wrong.
Yeah, when you watch the first Willow movie, it is its own little world, yes, and Knight's Tale is meant to just be its own fun, We Will Rock You was in there, and some, it is what it is. It doesn't try to be
right, so
a period piece,
when they say contemporary, I get flashbacks to season 1 of Willow, the only season of Willow, despite the fact that at the end, they are putting additional books on the shelf, implying there were supposed to be 2 more seasons.
They wanted more, but it was so bad.
They had to pull it.
Oh, they had to pull it because they don't want to pay royalties to anybody because of how bad it was.
It makes me sad it was so bad. But...
Yeah, we're getting hung up on contemporary, but I do think it's a red flag. It's a red flag for a lot of people these days.
Saying contemporary does feel like a red flag. Well, let's move into a fun story today.
Yeah, let's.
I want to talk about Cerveza Cristal.
Ooh, don't flag. You kind of...
Oh, yeah, I shouldn't do that too well because
I think Disney's on the hunt for them, aren't they? Or Lucasfilm.
Oh, the iconic jingle. It's been all over the internet for months. Yeah. For months. But now we have some context behind where this comes from. There was an interview with the Chilean beer company that launched this ad campaign. They started this in 2003. They sliced snippets of their branding into original airings of the original trilogy on television.
Yep.
Yes. A New Hope, Obi-Wan goes to open a chest containing Anakin's lightsaber, but boom.
It's a beer.
It's a beer with that catchy jingle. The production company that made these ads created 15 commercials at the time.
Wow. Yes.
They didn't know at the time, of course, they were going to be hilariously viral all over the internet 20 years later.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Ignacio Gonzalez is the director at FX, the company that produced these high-quality splicings.
Yep.
And they spoke with The Guardian, and they talked a little bit about what happened with this. He said, I looked for cuts in the film to make the ad break. Moments where actors reached for something or looked over at something. I never touched or intervened with the film itself.
So it just would go back to the normal film after? I always just see
I think that's where the studios would go to commercial break. It would immediately cut to Cerveza Cristal and then run regular ads and then probably go back to the movie.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, they cut it in as commercial runtime for cable.
I didn't know it went to commercial. I thought it was just this little thing and then they just go back to the movie and everybody's like, well, what?
Well, are you going to drink the beer now?
Where'd the beer go?
Where's the beer?
Confused.
Apparently, the Obi-Wan Kenobi spot, the first one that they showed, has a $10 budget, and it was shot in a closet.
$10 budget?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Cerveza's parent company approved it, and boom, that was history. Gonzalez said, I heard that some Star Wars purists were looking for me, and I don't think it's because they liked it. Then he was laughing, but I'd say 99% of people were fascinated by it and understood the humor. It was very creative at the time.
Sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Apparently they, swept international advertising awards because the ads were so funny and perfect. And then Lucasfilm took notice after they're, getting a bunch of awards for these commercials. Yeah, it turns out Lucasfilm didn't like their family-friendly brand being associated with the beer, so they filed a complaint arguing that viewers were being led to believe there was a connection between the two. Ultimately, Lucasfilm won the case. The ads ceased to air on public TV.
Ooh.
The silver lining was the council ruling on the case said there were no copyright laws violated because they technically just made add-ons to take the first commercial break. They weren't ever advertising using their material in a way.
Okay.
It was just a hand-holding beer.
Sure, for $10 in a closet. Yeah.
$10 in a closet. It wasn't even the only Cerveza Cristal ads that were made. They also made more for television airings of James Bond and Gladiator and other things, but Lucasfilm was the only studio to speak up. But you know what? The company says, hey, their goal was accomplished. No reason to push it further. They ended up pulling all their ads, even though the only film store that spoke up was Lucasfilm.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they said we didn't have any bad intentions by appropriating the look and feel of the film. We only wanted to stand out during the ad break. Why look for problems with other studios? The truth is, the impact was already made, and we decided to stop in good faith. And they did, and they stood out. And these things stood the test of time because, like, in March, all of a sudden, these viral memes and everything came out all over the internet, reminding everyone about Cerveza Cristal.
Or introducing us for the first time.
But don't worry. Their current marketing manager says there haven't been any noticeable upticks in sales due to these memes and little viral videos
so
and TikToks. So stop making memes and just go buy some, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, hold on. Now we're having the problem.
No.
Family-friendly content.
No.
Nah, I'm kidding. All right.
I just thought people should know where the infamous Cerveza Cristal comes from.
Yes. All right. Well, that is going to be all we got for you this time. Now it is your turn to take to the comments below and tell us what you think of any and all of today's news.
Cerveza Cristal.